Hey everybody, in this video we're going to go over how to use OnShape. So OnShape is a CAD software, computer-aided design, very similar to Fusion 360, but it's used a lot in robotics, particularly FTC robotics, because it's really easy to collaborate and make parts that kind of put together existing parts and then make our own custom parts. So this is an example of a robot this is the Rabbi robot from GAN from it was like 2 seasons ago, so I think probably like 2024, 2025. So this thing is entirely built by students. And what's really cool about OnShape, I mean, one, OnShape is just really fun. It's very, like, if you like Legos, this is like an online Lego builder kind of thing. But you can also, so you can like put parts together, existing parts together, but then you can also make your own custom parts that fit with existing parts. So you might have parts that already exist that you want to kind of put together. Great, we can do that, and then we can also add in our own parts. So if we look at this build right here, there's some parts that kind of come from a manufacturer called GoBuilda, so they kind of sell a lot of robotics parts. Like this kind of cool looking hole pattern here is from GoBuilda, and that part, we love that part. It's a great kind of cross piece. It helps us kind of hide some motors away. But what we really want to do is we also want to like make some other parts that are unique to our robot and kind of work specifically with, you know, where these wheels are going to be located at, and other parts that we want to include in the robot. It's just hard to just use only GoBuilda parts. So you can include those parts, but then also make your own parts that will fit with them. If you look at a part like this, maybe we can zoom in like on this part right here. You can see that it's got some like unique holes, and we want to kind of like utilize those holes to help us attach our parts together. So if we look in here, like we have these different like plates in here, we want this plate to be uniquely designed, specifically designed to fit in with this part. This part, like this piece right here, will probably be custom designed. It would either be, it could be 3D printed, it could be laser cut, or it could be cut out of metal. This one was laser cut out of wood and then later CNC'd out of metal. But it kind of, we want to make sure that our robot is fully planned out in advance, and that we really are very careful about putting these holes in places that they are going to meet up with existing parts. Okay, so for our class, we are going to do something a little bit different. Since we're not designing this full robot, we are going to go through and design out a version, our version of a robot, and then we are going to build some custom pieces on it. So we'll assemble some existing parts, which I think is really fun. I always find it really fun to get back into and kind of put things together. And then we're going to make our own custom pieces that are going to integrate with the parts that I made. So we're going to eventually build this. It's going to look just like our robot here. We still got our motors and all that stuff. I have a couple pieces. This is for the board. I didn't actually fully CAD out the ESP part on there, but that's kind of what the board looks like with the mounting holes and all that. So we're going to build this, and we're going to walk through the steps of doing that over the next, hopefully, just a couple videos here. Okay, so my goal with this first video is really to go through and just kind of explain like what OnShape does, how we can get some parts on there, and maybe start doing a little bit of assembly, or maybe I'll probably split that into the second video. So let's first open up let's open up a new tab. Actually, I'm going to close this out. We're just going to open up OnShape. Okay, so this is my student account here. Let's see. All right, so we're going to go to OnShape. I think I should be already signed in, so okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. But great, we're going to be in here, and we are going to create, you should just see Robotics 1 in yours. You should be invited to it, although yours might look a little bit different. But we're going to say Create Document. We're going to say this is going to be our Arduino robot build. I'm going to put it in my home. I think you can put it in the Robotics 1 folder. Let's just put it in Owned by Me for now. I'll have to think about how to get this shared out and visible to everybody. So I have to think that through a little bit more, but we'll get started with this. Okay, so this is a little bit zoomed out. Let me try and zoom in a little bit so we can see more of this. Really what I'm really want to focus on, I want to make sure this is on screen. There we go, that's better. Okay, because what I really want to focus on is down here, these 2 tabs. The 2 tabs are like key to kind of understanding OnShape and how it's different from Fusion. Although, actually Fusion is like trying to get a little bit closer to OnShape now with some of its recent moves and making hybrid designs. So if you use Fusion, you might see something that kind of resembles this now. The main point here is that we have 2 distinct kind of approaches to looking at things in OnShape. There's the Part Studio, and then there's the assembly. The Part Studio is, like if we look at this robot here, the Rabbi Full CAD, this is an assembly. There's a whole bunch of like individual little parts that we might kind of build out in isolation, and then we can put them together. So we designed them individually in a parts studio, and then we figured out how these parts are going to fit all together inside of an assembly. So that's what I think is really unique and very cool about OnShape, and a lot of fun is like pulling in parts, putting them together, finding existing parts, and then also going through and like, okay, now I can make my own custom parts. And what's really cool about something like, if we go back to this design, is you can make parts that pull information off of these existing pieces. So that's what I'm going to try and show you how to do, is like pull in parts and then reference those geometries, those hole locations, sizes, all that stuff in our new design, so that we can like make parts that are going to fit with existing pre-made parts. So we're going to go through, and ultimately my goal is to build out the robot that we already have in class. So let's just go through it. And we have a parts studio and we have an assembly. So we're going to go into an assembly, and we're going to be able to hit insert, and we're going to say other documents. So we can find some other existing documents, and we're going to look for, I think it's going to be in robotics 1, Arduino parts, and we're going to see Arduino parts version 18. You can see in here there's going to be a bunch of parts studios, and there's also going to be assemblies. Always do the assemblies if you can. Part studios tend to be a little bit messier, and they are more kind of separated out. So what I want to do is I want to be able to pull in some parts into my workspace. I have just this very limited number of parts. I kind of curated these parts. If we were to look at other libraries, there might be hundreds of pieces, but I've just kind of pulled out these ones for our robot for right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab in all the parts that we need, and we're going to put them into our document, and the next video we'll start putting them together. So I'm going to grab, I need all this stuff. I need an L298. That's our motor driver. I'm going to need 2 of those. These are each one of our wheels. Notice there's left and right, so we need 2 of those. Motors, I need 4 of those. So I'm going to pull in one of these. Actually, I'm just going to pull in one at a time, and then we'll do a little bit of copying, and then we'll move on into the next video. So let's just grab, but make sure we do grab a left and a right. We're going to grab a TT motor. This is my board, and this is my chassis. Oh, my chassis is a little bit messed up. I'm going to go change that version real quick to clean that up a little bit. So it's actually kind of cool. I'm going to leave this in. We're going to hit, I put all the parts in here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this part in just a second. But I have all these parts in here. Now you got to make sure, if you hit exit, if you hit X or anything else, like they look like the parts are in there, but as soon as you hit X, they're going to disappear. So we're going to make sure we hit check to have this in here. Now what's kind of cool is like I've designed all these parts in other instances, like put all these parts together and they're in a different environment, different like kind of account than this. So what I can do though, so actually I realized I added this little thing on here that kind of messes up our board, right? I added that on there in one version. I need to go back and change that. I actually already changed it in a previous account, in another account, in a different version. And we can see that this thing is now saying the newer, we can now update this thing to match the other version that I made. So I kind of fixed this thing back. I can now update it. So it's really cool. Like there are a lot of like, these things are kind of like alive. I have them existing somewhere else and you're referencing them in here. If I make any changes in one document, it's going to get affected in this one. That's part of the cool thing of OnShape, is that these things are all kind of connected and alive, and we can modify them and change them and put them together in really cool ways. So I'm going to stop this for video 1 and we'll move into video 2.